Hello, arcade gamers, and welcome back to Biggie D's Arcade. Tonight we're doing Chillin' Chat 90 on a Sunday evening. Just hanging out tonight. Don't really have anything on tap as far as news or slides or anything like that. Really just going to be chilling out for like the next hour, hour and a half, discussing a multitude of things, things that are on my mind, things I think that are going on in the community. Also, as well as I want to engage the chat. Anything you guys want to ask me tonight, we'll bring it up. We'll just start discussing it. Didn't really want to spend a ton of time preparing for the show tonight like I normally do. So I'm just going to wing it. We're just going to have fun for the next hour, hour and a half. Let's say hi first to everyone who's made it so far. Looks like I saw that Gregory was in the chat earlier today, but it's not showing up here on Restream. So unfortunately, I can't bring it up on the screen. First one I can bring up here is going to be Papa Brad's Gaming. Says, let's go. 100%, definitely 100%. It was awesome having a guest opportunity on Papa Brad's show on Friday. I was able to sit in on his new Retro Legends show, just have a good time for a couple hours, talk gaming, talk whatever. It was a really good time. Thanks for having me on the show. Go check out Retro Legends on Friday nights with Papa Brad's Gaming. We've also got GeForce Guy in the chat. He's saying hi. Good to see GeForce Guy and always following his VR content. A lot of fun. MSU Rich is here. He's saying, what's up, everyone? Good to see you, MSU Rich. B. Kirby as well, the Chicago arcade guy, is saying, what's up, fellas? Good to see you, B. Kirby. So, guys, tonight I don't have anything in particular I want to discuss. So, just have some bullet points really on things that I want to talk about. The first thing I want to discuss is going to be this basic fun. This kind of popped up, I guess, a couple weeks ago, maybe a week and a half ago, started hearing about it. There was a video that had dropped on YouTube where they were at this like toy convention and they're basically interviewing a guy. It's all audio. There's no video of the actual machines themselves. But evidently he talked for a good like 10, 15 minutes about how they're going to make arcade cabinets very similar to what Arcade 1-Up was doing for the last, 5-6 years. They're going to kind of start taking those licenses, those ideas, and doing them themselves. Basic Fun, this entire different company. So what's going on behind the scenes, I don't quite know right now. I don't think anyone really does because no one's really had questions or opportunity to ask questions to Basic Fun to figure a lot of this out yet. But what I take from it is basically they have gotten the licenses for a lot of arcades like Atari, Konami, maybe even Namco, and they're going to be making their version of what Arcade 1-Up was doing, basically just taking the license from them and putting out these products because it doesn't seem like Arcade 1-Up wants to do it, or maybe they don't have the means or the funding to be able to develop these cabinets any longer, so they have sold these licenses off, or they haven't renewed their license. The company sold it to someone else, which would be Basic Fun. But you'd be looking at like a Star Wars Atari cabinet coming soon, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a Pac-Man, like all these cabinets that we're used to Arcade 1-Up making, Basic Fun's going to start making, and they said at the end of this year. Now, that's a goal, I think, more so than an actual deadline or a date that we could expect these. But they're saying end of 2025, Q4, we're going to get all these new line of cabinets from them. But as far as like what they look like, what the actual games list is going to be, things like that, we still don't know yet. They are talking like up to 60 games on these cabinets, however. So wide range of games, but we don't know exactly which ones those will be. It sounded like maybe the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles may be a collection of like the console TMNT games as well as the arcade ROMs. But we'll have to wait and see on all this. But I also want to pump the brakes a little bit too, because I feel like what's going to happen in this community is for the next 6 months, 8 months, we're going to be talking about Basic Fun and these great cabinets that are going to come. But it could realistically be 2026, could be 2027. We don't know exactly. We just haven't, they're very hopeful. They think they're going to get it out by the end of the year. But just realistically, giving you guys the facts here, it could be, well off. It could be a year, 2 years off still. Also, this company, Basic Fun, it came out of a bankruptcy back in September, October of last year. So they may have high hopes. They may talk big as a company and what they're going to do with all this funding, and that they're going to develop all these cabinets. But I would say let's wait and see type of approach. Let's get an idea of what they're actually doing first, rather than them just talking about it, and then get super excited, hyped about it. Because all I see is people talking about this for the next 8-9 months, and then still nothing's coming. And I see a lot of that going on right now in home arcade. Is we're talking about Glenn's FU cabinet. We were talking about Unico's Nova Blast there for a while, and then that was a dud. And there was the 4K Games Legends Ultimate that never came. So we spend a lot of time talking about this stuff, a lot of effort, and it sometimes never even happens or gets heavily delayed. So I don't see myself spending a ton of time talking about Basic Fun in this news until we actually see something. That's kind of my approach with this. So that's it. That's the news on this. Evidently, there's some new cabinets coming. What it does lead me to believe, too, is with the Arcade 1UP, what do they have left? Sounds like they may only have that Midway license left, which is why we saw that MK2 Classic. So that may be it for the Arcade 1UP licenses going forward, is just that Midway, based on what Basic Fun is saying. So this is all a lot of developing, but we don't have any real hard facts outside of what we heard in this interview from Basic Fun. But this is a Ask Me Everything, Anything type of stream. So you guys put that out there in the chat. Let me know, what questions do you have? What do you guys want to discuss tonight? And we'll bring it up. Papa Brad's Gaming says, thank you for being on Retro Legends. You are always welcome on my channel. I appreciate that, Papa Brad. Definitely enjoyed my time on it. We'll have to come back and do it again with you. I love what you're doing on Friday nights. Mike Hawkert says, good evening, Biggie D's Arcade. Hopefully this stream will be political free, although it is your channel. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to talk a ton about politics. I know how divisive that can be, where you have, good friends, people that you may have a lot in common with, and then you bring up, political type subjects and everything changes. The mood changes. People disagree on a lot of stuff. So definitely want to keep that stuff to a minimum, definitely. And I appreciate you putting that out there. GeForce Guy is saying, thanks. By the way, Retro Legends was great. Brooklyn had at least 5 1-liters. That was pretty funny, LOL. Great show. Good hanging out with Brooklyn, too, because I haven't got a chance to chat with him in a while. So it was good to catch up with Brooklyn as well. My family saying, get hyped. Let's get hyped, guys. 100%. Let's go. That's for some weird reason, and not those words cannot be said outside of the cornercade in this community. I've noticed too. It's very strange in how protective people are of those words. Get hyped. Let's go. And they don't want anybody else saying it, but I haven't said it in the last couple of weeks because everyone's getting on to me about it. But places like this on my channel, Papa Brad's channel, in VR, all that, I'm going to still say it because, again, this is America. We're free to say what we want to say. And actually, a lot of channels, YouTube channels, say these words. Get hyped. Let's go. It's very prominent on YouTube. So to just say one person can say those words is kind of ridiculous. And I'm going to definitely enjoy saying them. Let's see. So we got, who else? Mikey's here. He's saying, check out Biggie's goatee. Nice. Yes, did a little bit of shaving. I'm going to be going out of town for a work trip next week. So I wanted to look clean shaven. And Gregory's saying, hi, Biggie. We got to play some VR with Gregory on, what was that, Friday night after Retro Legends. Got to play some mini golf. That was a lot of fun. Also, Gregory was talking about the Dungeons and Dragons. You'll have to confirm this for me, but it sounded like you had sold your Godzilla pinball and you've gotten a Dungeons and Dragons Stern pinball. And I think that's so awesome. I got a chance to play it today, and man, that is a great table. That would be, of all the Stern tables, it'd be a hard decision between the X-Men, the new one, and then the Dungeons and Dragons. It'd be very difficult to decide between those two, but I do like the D&D feel. The mini games, the dungeon crawl you have in it. That dragon, the sound it makes, it's very loud. It's got a booming sound to it. Great table. And Texas Pinball Festival is coming up this next weekend, March 21st through the 23rd. I'll be there Saturday and Sunday. So I'm going to get my fill of Dungeons and Dragons Stern Pinball. I only got a chance to play it a couple times today, but I'll be probably playing it 10, 20 times over the course of next weekend. And Papa Brad's saying, are we the dark Illuminati now? There's the Illuminati, and there's been some jokes going around about the dark Illuminati. Are we the Sith? Are we the dark side? Hollywood Polo's here. He's saying, say it, Brad and Greg. He also says, Biggie D's Arcade, the weekly top 40. How was your weekend? What fun stuff did you get to do? I actually had a really good weekend, guys. Got a lot done. So Saturday, I was able to unpack. I'm still unpacking the apartment. Was able to put some furniture together that I'd still had in the box. Was able to put that together. Did some shopping. Had a good time on Saturday. And then today, I got to go to the Texas Rangers game versus the White Sox. So Chicago versus Texas Rangers. A lot of fun at that game today. Just enjoying some spring training baseball here in the Valley because this is going to be going on the rest of this month. And the games are like $10, $15 to get in. Weather's great. You get to see the players up close. I was only 4 rows up from the third baseline. So that was a lot of fun. And then right after that, I went to Player One Arcade in Surprise, Arizona. I got to play some pinball. And then now I'm catching up with you guys. I just got home probably about an hour ago. And Steve Sell is here. He's saying, besides politics, hope it's cornercade free. Absolutely. Definitely will not be discussing politics and definitely will not be discussing cornercade tonight. That's for sure. Giovanni's here. He's saying, hey, I got myself an original Japanese Konami DDR cabinet about 2 weeks ago. Been doing a lot of work on it. That's really cool to hear. Those Rhythm Konami arcade games are great. And get legit and stay hyped, Thor KC says. Awesome. Awesome to see everyone in the chat hanging out. So another thing I wanted to discuss. I want to discuss the Wonderland Pinball. Let's bring up their Kickstarter here on the screen because this was big news this week. And this, out of everything I think that's going on right now, new developments, new products in home arcade, I feel like this is the one that I'm most excited about right now is Wonderland Pinball. And it had a huge week. Its Kickstarter kicked off last week. I think it was on Tuesday. And they're already now at 550 backers, 561 million. Their goal was only 100,000. 561,000. I'm sorry, 500,000. I apologize. 550 backers, 24 days to go. So they still got over 3 weeks left, and they're already at 500,000. Their goal was only 100,000. So this thing could easily clear 1 million, I think, when it's all said and done. They're going to a couple events here soon. They're going to WonderCon, which will be in Anaheim, I think, in the Southern California area. That's going to be coming up next week, towards the end of next week. As well as we've got Texas Pinball Festival, which is coming up next weekend. So there's some talk that Wonderland Pinball may end up at Texas Pinball Festival. They are not actually on the list of companies that are going to attend. They haven't done any of that in advance. But with the success of this Kickstarter, where this is going, the amount of people that are interested in seeing this happen, there may be enough now reason for them to head to Texas Pinball Festival, pay the money to be there, because it'll only grow the number of Kickstarter backers. It'll only grow the hype behind the product. More people will be interested in it, get a chance to see it up close. But that's not for sure. So we'll find out next weekend. Are they going to be at Texas Pinball Festival? But right now, there's no word that they are for sure going to be there. There's just some rumors that they may go. So we'll have to find out. But that's going to be the 21st through the 23rd, this upcoming weekend. So we'll know pretty soon. WonderCon, let's see what dates. This is going to be March 28th through the 30th. So that's going to be at the end of the month here in a couple of weeks. So we'll see if they make it next weekend. If they don't, at the end of the month, we're at least going to get to see this machine in person, like if you're at WonderCon in California, to see what this thing is going to play like. But I think a lot of people are getting wrapped up into the playability or how fun this thing is going to be. And I think the expectations are really high. But you got to think this thing comes in at $799 if you were the first 100 people to back it, $800. I think it's $849 now, so it's only gone up $50. And what can you expect? I mean, how much are you expecting for $850? I think if it's just a functional, real mechanical pinball, and you get 4 or 5 shots, you can play this competitively with your friends. Like you can, have good. You can build up repetition with the table. You can learn how to get higher scores, and you can be competitive with it. I think people are going to love this. I don't think they have to knock it out of the park and be some amazing pinball in comparison to like what Stern is doing, or some of these other big pinball players. But if they could just make something that is casually fun, something that you want to play every once in a while, you can get good scores on it. The sound is good. It looks good. I think at $850, you can't ask for much more than that. And I think the people that are getting wrapped up into trying to compare these to like real pinballs that come in at $8,000-$10,000, I just don't think that's a fair comparison. I think we need to compare this more towards like our virtual pinball tables, like the Arcade 1-Up, the AT games. How much do we enjoy it in comparison to the virtual pinball tables that we play? And if this is giving us an alternative, something different than what we're doing with virtual pinball, and it's changing it up for us and it's giving us something different to play, I think that goes a long way. So $850, I think this is a bargain at what they're selling this for. And if you were able to get in at $799, even more so of a bargain. If you guys want to get this, what are they calling this? The limited edition Queen of Hearts collection. It's coming in at $1,900. But it's also including these bronze accents. So for the legs, the railings, the T-molding is all bronze. You're also getting a collector's edition plaque, limited edition certificate of authenticity. Also getting a topper. You're getting, it looks like a plunger. And some extra pieces. And it's cool to see them doing these extra pieces, even if you don't do the limited edition. I think it's great to see this because it just brings up how many mods are going to be available for this. Joe Zabo's, those type of websites are going to be making all kinds of mods and additional pieces that you can put in these tables to make them look and play even better. So this is going to take off. I feel like eventually, I don't think the support for it has been like 100% across everybody. There's definitely, a lot of people out there that are not too happy with it or are not like super excited to run out and get this or back it during the Kickstarter. But I think that's going to change as this starts to release, as people start getting these. I think you're going to notice everyone's going to end up owning one. At $850, I think all of us home arcade enthusiasts that are buying the Arcade 1-Up stuff or the AT Games products are going to be wanting to get one of these because it comes in at the exact price we're wanting. It's geared and marketed directly towards our community and like the stuff we like to buy in that price range. And it just adds to the arcade, giving us something completely, entirely different than anything we've had before. So I expect this to do very well. And I see the support growing as it releases and as more and more people begin to play it. And then we also got to talk about all the other tables that are going to come after this. So they're talking Star Wars. You got to think of all the other licenses that they could get. And, there'll be people have 4 or 5 of these and they'll all be different themes, all different artwork. That's what I see over the next 2 or 3 years. See this really taking off and them coming out with 3 or 4 of these a year, different themes every quarter. So we'll see. B. Kirby says the Wonderland Pinball will probably outsell most V-Pins for the price range this year just because of the Kickstarter numbers. They're at roughly 625 units sold already within a week's time. So yeah, that's just with them doing, YouTube videos, doing the, the interviews with like P-Dubs and things like that. They were able to back and get that many backers. Over $500,000, 554 backers in less than a week. Just think as this grows, more and more people start to hear about it. I'm starting to see them doing Facebook advertising now with some of this money, I bet, is what they're using. It's only going to grow from here and get bigger. People are going to love this idea, and especially at this price. It's not a price that people are going to balk at or be shy of because it comes in at, less than half of even some of the at-games, 4KPs with the SSF kit and all that. Talking about half the price. And he says just by the Kickstarter numbers, there's roughly 625 units sold already within a week's time. That's incredible. That's a lot more than I think any of us were expecting to see. And it's only going to allow them to develop this better and quicker and bring us an even better product. So I love the Kickstarter idea, and I love that they're getting the support. Thor KC says this will use actual physics instead of virtual physics. It does remain to be seen which is truly better. And I think the real pinball experience is definitely best. Virtual pinball's emulating real pinball. It's giving you the feel and idea that you are playing real pinball. But I think we're all trying, our goal in mind would be to play the real thing, I would think. Virtual is good to have. It's definitely an alternative. It's something else you can do. Also, you can have tons of tables on just one pinball machine. So virtual has its place as well. But I think where it's really at is the mechanical real pinball tables. Papa Brad says the Viper is really good once you have the game set up right. Definitely. Don't have the Viper. I have the Raspberry Pi, but eventually I want to get into doing a Viper board. Mikey says, as I do with all the new companies, I hope they do well, but I think it will be a cheap product, to be honest. And that's the thing. I think the expectations can't be that high. I mean, what are you expecting for $850 for it to be a real mechanical pinball that plays and you can actually track and be competitive with the scores on it, and the lighting's good, the sound is good. That's all it needs. I think the modding community, all that's going to really take off and just grow it as well. And at that amount of money, I'm not, going to be shy to purchase this when it comes out. Mike Cockert says, we need to see live footage and reaction of Wonderland before I will jump on. Also, don't feel like you've missed out if you missed the Kickstarter. Yeah, I'm not a pre-order person, not a backer in the Kickstarter with this. Normally never am. I can't remember any time I've pre-ordered anything in home arcade. I enjoy it. The other people pre-ordering allows it to happen. And then I get these products once they release, unless they're sent to me for review. But do not pre-order. Devastator Omega says, any news on the Iconic Arcade or timeline for news to come out? Kind of not giving me a reason to pre-order when I don't know what the UI is going to look like or how it works. I'm glad you brought that up, Devastator. I didn't actually have a note for Iconic Arcade, but I did want to talk about them tonight because that's a really big subject in its own. There's a rumor of a cease and desist letter that Arcade 1UP may have sent to Iconic Arcade or John D's company, which is Media 1UP, which is preventing them from being able to talk about anything right now. It's also taken the Iconic Arcade off of the XXL off the Iconic Arcade website. So you can still pre-order, but you have to go through this VMI Solutions or whoever this company is we've never heard of. But to buy it directly from Iconic Arcade through their website, you don't have that ability anymore. It's not linked to the pre-order. So what the heck is going on? What the hell is going on with Iconic Arcade and Media 1UP and John D? Nobody knows. Really, it's all rumors. But I think we can all put two and two together and we can see if there's a limited, communication between the fans of this stuff and the people making it. And right now is when they should be really driving the pre-orders and they should be out there in the public, doing live streams, doing interviews, being at conventions, doing whatever they can to get their name out there, a lot like what Wonderland is doing. The fact that they're not doing that right now, and this thing is supposed to come out in less than 90 days, I think it's obvious to know what's happened. They've shut it down. Nothing's happening with this product right now. And there'll probably be an update on it, but who knows when that will be. It could be 6 months from now before anyone gets an update on anything. And I think likely what that update will be is that this is heavily delayed or it's been canceled. And, this is how we're going to get your money back to you. That's what I would expect to happen with this whole Iconic Arcade thing. And it was interesting to see, too, of how a lot of the larger content creators, people that had covered a lot of this Iconic Arcade XXL stuff, too, is being really quiet about it. And they're also very attentive of what is going on and what people are saying. They don't want certain things to be, tossed around and spoken about because, there's a lot riding on this. And there were a lot of people that were supportive of it very early on. And, people are just very careful in what's happening and what they're going to say, what they're going to share, how it's going to get handled. So I think everyone can put two and two together and can figure out what's going on. And it's getting shut down. We're not going to probably see an Iconic Arcade Street Fighter XXL anytime in the near future, if at all. May never come. Probably more likely that you see the Double Dragon one that leaked. But even that one kind of looks weird. And there's a lot about that cabinet that is still unknown. So who knows if that will even ever happen. Gregory says Biggie, but at games instead. It's so much better talking about the at games over the Wonderland pinball. I know Gregory's much higher on the at games and getting the 4KP and playing all these tables virtually. And you own two real pinballs, so that makes a lot of sense. But for us that don't own either, I don't own the at games. I don't own any real pinballs yet. I think I would go for Wonderland first, $850, get a real pinball table in my home, and then, grow from there. Learn the hobby, learn how to clean pinball, how to replace parts, how to change out parts, how to work on them, learn what all the parts are, what they're called, how to talk about pinball as a game, all that stuff, and then work your way into the more expensive ones, or maybe virtual from there. That's been my thought. I've been really, high on the at games 4KP virtual pinball machine ever since it was first announced. And I've always thought that I was going to get one, but actually lately, the last couple of months, I've kind of backed off a lot of all this stuff. Haven't been buying much of any home arcade. It's all been VR or spending it going out or, buying things that I have to have, like fixing my car. So I have to be very selective. I can't buy it all. And I just don't think that I'm going to be getting the At Games 4KP anytime soon. There's no new skins coming out. The Zen tables are very slow to release. There is some good news on that. At Games did get the Williams pinball pack, which is going to have, Junkyard. It's going to have the Getaway, and it's going to have Medieval Madness. That's coming out next week. So they are starting to get some good tables, but it's still very slow for those to come out, and there's still no skins. And I think the new skin is what's really going to push a lot of people that have waited to get one finally. Ritual Dello saying late to the party. Hey, all. Sup, Biggie? Good to see you, Ritual Dello. Also fun playing the mini golf with you on Friday night. Love that new course. I did terrible. You guys all did really well. All had great scores. Mine was terrible. I haven't played that game in a while. I got to get better. Let's see. So Papa Brad says you cannot hide on At Games, talking about the rankings, the scoring. Goofyfoot saying, when I said real physics, I meant full-size table physics. Yeah, so this is coming in a much smaller cabinet, much smaller play field, smaller ball, but it's not that much smaller than a real pinball. A little bit, but not that much smaller. And you're definitely going to notice it's going to play faster. and it's probably not going to sound as deep or as loud as some of those bigger pinball tables do. But again, look at the price. It's a bargain at what they're going to be selling these for. JJ says, "Hey, Biggie D, good to see you." And Papa Brad says, "Tiny balls." Yeah, they're going to have the smaller pinballs, a little bit smaller. But I think it's a great way to entry point into pinball. Like, what a great way to learn about it, to get into it, to have your first one, to get in one at like this idea. I mean, it was completely made for people that buy these $500 to $1,000 home arcade products. It's perfect. We've never had anything like this before with what Wonderland is coming out with. Devastator Omega says Nova Blast also appears to be a dud. Yeah, I said that early in the stream. I mean, very disappointing what's happened with that Nova Blast. A lot of bad screens, a lot of issues. Doesn't sound like the support's that great for this thing. And it's tough to see that. And I guess we got to wonder, with the Wonderland pinball, what is the rollout with this thing going to be looking like? It looks like they're going to have parts for it. Also, it looks like the people that are developing it, making it, promoting it are part of the public eye. They're not shy at all as far as not talking with us. They're communicating with us. So I could see this doing well, but also on the other hand, it could be like the Nova Blast. These could ship with tons of broken parts. It could be a nightmare trying to get replacements. All that stuff can happen with this as well. So I don't want to not give people the full picture, but I mean, at the price that it's coming in at, I think that you can look past a lot of things at this price point. Papa Brad's Gaming says, "My fear is people buy it and are disappointed with home arcade." Yeah, we'll see with this. It could go either way. It could go really well, really smooth, and be just like, a great support department that we work with at Wonderland, gets everything fixed that arrives broken or needs new parts. Or it could go the other way where it's like a nightmare. You get it, you can't play it for months. If you ever get it working the way it should out of the box, all that can happen too. Darren Kane says, "I only spoke with Jerry a few times when I worked at Arcade 1-Up, but definitely rooting for his success." Oh, so Jerry is one of the guys that works at Wonderland, and he used to work at Arcade 1-Up. So you may see this guy here in a lot of your photos, videos of this thing. He came from Arcade 1-Up, and you can definitely see it in the cabinet. Like when I was at Chicago Pinball Expo, I got to see the cabinet up close. And it's like just an almost perfect match to the Arcade 1-Up, Attack from Mars, the Star Wars, the Marvel. I mean, you could see it. But that's good experience, I think, to have with what they're doing with this. He's probably made a lot of good connections. He's learned a lot from his time at Arcade 1-Up. And I think that's going to go a long way with this new venture he's doing with Wonderland. Gregory says, "Biggie, can Wonderland supply the parts and service? They don't use standard parts." They're going to just have to mass produce the parts. It sounds like they're going to do all their support operations out of the U.S., so it should be easy to get a hold of them, easy to ship the things out that you're going to need. And it'll be fun. It'll be a great learning experience too, replacing, doing maintenance on these, to eventually get into real pinball. Because I think that's going to be my goal, looking at like a 5-year goal for me, and is to eventually get a real pinball table. And like I was looking over some of the pinball tables at the bar tonight, and I was thinking, if I actually do make it to this level and I'm able to invest like what I would invest in a car and get a pinball table, I would like to get like that new X-Men. It'd just be like the perfect, theme, the perfect nostalgia that you get from that would be like X-Men for me right now. If I was in that position right now to buy one, I think that would be the one I would go with. So VR gaming, wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that. I've been playing a lot of VR. Whenever I get a moment, I've been super busy with my job. This new job has been like from the moment I clock in at 8 a.m. to the moment I get off at 5 p.m., that entire time I'm working. There's always something to do. There's always something that they need from me, which is really good. I mean, it's growing my experience, my career. It's making me more valuable to the company. I'm learning a lot, but I'm not having a ton of time to play video games like I used to or make videos, a lot of that stuff. But when I do, I've been playing VR and been playing a lot of Red Matter 2. Also just got the Quest Plus membership. So it's like a game membership, just like PS Plus. It's called Quest Plus, and it opened up a bunch of new games. So I'm about to play like a ton of new VR games on that. One of them was one that I want to get into, starting this week, which is like the biggest game that they have on there right now. What is this? Asgard's Wrath 2. I really want to jump into that starting this week. And I hear that's like a 60-hour VR game. So can't wait to get into that. But I've been playing a lot of Red Matter 2. I think I'm very close to the end of that game. Still playing a lot of Metro. I'll jump into that one randomly, but that game still freaks the heck out of me with those monsters jumping out at you. And there's a lot of you're like walking down tunnels and things are just jumping out at you. So that one I can only play in little spurts, 10, 15 minutes at a time. But I'm really enjoying that one. And then I've still got a ton of backlog VR games that I got to play. Since I moved, I still haven't put on the PlayStation VR headset yet again. So there's just so much stuff in VR that I can play. And, I used to sit down in front of the TV and play, several hours, of games a week, console games, flat screen gaming. And I'd really enjoy getting to the end and beating these games. But now I'm just really enjoying doing all this in VR. So very rarely do I even turn the TV on to do flat screen gaming anymore. It's more normally me putting the headset on if I'm going to be playing anything. But there was the New Wave Toys news as well. If you guys got to watch New Wave Toys, they did a stream recently. They're doing these streams themselves. They're not coming on channels. We had Shiloh on as a guest on this channel once. And that was just such a huge opportunity. It was so much fun to have him on. But they've gone a different direction now. They are doing their streams from their own YouTube channel, just employees only kind of running the show. And I think it's great what they've done. It's awesome. The first couple shows were definitely really rough. The audio was really bad, but it's gotten much better. The last show was super smooth. Everything we could hear, we had a really good time. They shared a lot of stuff with us, updates. But I think the big takeaway from that stream was the Time Traveler. They're doing a Sega Time Traveler. They're trying to gauge interest right now. They did a survey they had sent out to everyone to see, would you guys get this Sega Time Traveler arcade if we were to do one? And let's bring it up so we can kind of look at it here. But I kind of remember this arcade from back my childhood growing up. And then I kind of remember seeing it when I was at Chicago as well. But I have not played it. And it's one that I definitely have got to play. Let's see here. This is it, guys. Time Traveler. So it's a Sega disc game, laser disc game. But they built it into this 3D arcade that has a joystick and a couple of buttons. And you've got this image, real small image down under the game deck there, kind of enclosed. And that's all 3D, like a hologram. And back then, I mean, you imagine when this came out, that was probably mind-blowing to see anything like this, to play anything like this was probably unheard of. Today it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal if you saw something like this at the arcade. But I think for what New Wave Toys is doing and to make this their next Replicade, I think it's very ambitious what they're doing. I think it's very much shows how much of a passion they have for this, that they're willing to take on such a big project and such a, I would say, very difficult to develop process to make something like this. But they're all in. They're really want to do this thing. It's really up to us, the community, the people that do the survey, the people out there that are going to vote in that survey. is this actually going to happen is really up to us. If there's enough support, they're going to do it. And I believe in them 100% that they can make this happen. But it's just, is there enough backing for it? And that I don't know. I from what I could tell in the chat, it looked like a lot of people were kind of already not really that happy about the idea of them making this. I think they were much more wanting to see some of the more classic, more well-known arcades come out. But we'll see what the support's like. I think they'll let us know probably on their next live stream, yay or nay. Are they going to make it? Are they not? I hope they do. I hope they end up going forward with this. It was also nice to see Sega too. I don't know if Sega is, or that game is still licensed by them, but for them to just have any game that was a Sega title is really cool, because that really opens up a huge amount of other arcade games that could potentially come if they were able to make that work and sell that one. So we'll see what happens. New Wave Toys, Time Traveler, 3D hologram type arcade game, Laserdisc game. Would you guys get one of those if they were to make one? Were you excited about that? Were you happy that was the news, or were you really hoping for something else? I'm kind of in the middle of the road. I like the ambition. I like the, high goals and big ideas and thinking outside the box that New Wave Toys is doing. I see all that. I appreciate all that, but I also kind of wish they would have gone more of the conservative, like less risk, more classic, well-known arcades that we know and love already. I would have liked to see them gone that direction as well, and just bring us one of the big, heavy hitters like that everyone's wanting to see. I think that would have been great too. So, but awesome to see New Wave Toys just, out there doing live streams, sharing new things that they're talking about doing with us. They still got a huge amount of products they still got to bring us too, that they're working on. So they're very busy with that as well, with the Black Hole Pinball, with the Golden Tee, and with the Crystal Castles. So all that's getting much closer as well from what they had said in the stream. So all that should start releasing here soon as well. Just perfecting it, making it a little bit better how they normally do, and that will finally make it, and we'll get to see what those look like. But the way I would expect it, I would expect from what I took, and we don't have exact timeline on all this, but I would expect the Golden Tee to come out, the Crystal Castles, the Black Hole towards the end of the year. So in that order is what I took from it and how close they are to releasing things. And then the Time Traveler, if they end up doing this will be probably coming out in 2026 sometime. And that's if there's enough interest, enough people want to get it. Mike Hawkhurt says they could offer a Holosseum Time Traveler as two products, but important to include both games on whichever design you choose to buy. And there are other ones that act and play a lot like this, just different themes, different games. Holosseum, I guess, is one of those. Not too well versed on a lot of these games, so learning a lot of it as New Wave Toys has announced it. But I'd like to see a lot of this stuff. Also, something else I saw was VR. You can play. There's these VR games that you can get on your computer. You can load the ROMs onto your computer, and you can play a lot of these in VR. So if you've never played them before, I think that would be a great way to get a chance to experience them for the first time. Would be to do it in VR, because these aren't the kind of arcades where you can just walk in your local bar or local arcade and find one of these. These are very rare. Probably have to do some real searching to get the real thing, but VR would be a good way to experience it, I think. And I saw people playing it that way. So other things going on, guys, is the NBA. Been watching tons of basketball. Luka Doncic got traded to the Lakers. So I've been watching a lot of Lakers games lately, because it just a lot like watching the Mavericks with him on that team now. They haven't been doing too well because LeBron's been hurt, but really fun still watching them. Also, the Mavs are terrible now. All the players are getting hurt. Ever since that trade happened, it seems like every player gets hurt, at least one player every game. So they've got 8 people out, and they hardly have enough players on the bench to even be eligible to play. They may have to forfeit games in the towards the end of this season, depending on how many people are eligible to play or aren't hurt. So interesting to see in the NBA this year where the Mavs have come, going from the finals last year to now being one of the worst teams in the league, maybe not even making it into the play-in tournament. I've been watching a lot of the Phoenix Suns. Now, that's another thing. I've been here for a few years now in Arizona, and at first I was all Texas teams. I was all the Rangers. I was all the Mavericks, Cowboys. But I've noticed over the last few years, I'm starting to watch more local teams. So I've been watching a lot of the Suns this season. And I'm starting to become more of a Suns fan than I'd ever been. So I'm hopeful they can kind of pass the Mavericks here at the end of the season, get into the play-in, and maybe make a little noise in the playoffs this year. We'll see, because they have Kevin Durant. They've got a good team. Bradley Beal, Booker. They've got some good players. If they can kind of gel, get that together here towards the end of the season, make it into the play-in, they could maybe make it into the playoffs and then do some damage there. So we'll see. But we're getting down to the last few weeks of the NBA season. So I've been watching a lot of basketball. Haven't been watching movies, TV, but I've been watching a lot of basketball. Got that NBA League Pass. And I pretty much always have that going on in the background when games are going on. Also been doing a lot of DraftKings sports betting on my phone. So I'll do fantasy drafts and stuff on there. And I have a lot of fun with that. Also, I'm going to Vegas next week for work again. Every quarter I go to Vegas for work. And I'm going to meet up with the Rexer show. So I'll be there the 26th, 27th, and 28th. And the 27th, that night, I have completely free, open, and I think I'm going to meet up with the Rexer show that night if he's available. Hopefully he is. He said he should be. And I think we're going to go to a bar in Vegas that has pinball machines. Maybe I could bring it up here so you guys can see which one I want to go to. Yeah, here it is. It's called Asylum Bar and Arcade. So let's share this. Screen. So this is the one I want to go to. It's called Asylum Bar and Arcade, Area 15. And arcade and pinball, full bar. That's where I went tonight, which was kind of similar to this, where they have the bar and the games. I like that that environment. It's a lot of fun, especially if it's busy. But let's see what they've got for arcade games. Doesn't really say. How I found this place was on Pinball Map. I don't know if you guys have ever checked out Pinball Map, but if you're ever wanting to find pinball machines, and also there's normally good arcades at these places as well. So if you're looking for good arcades, Pinball Map is a good place to look. But you can go in here, right? And I could put Las Vegas because I'll be traveling there. And it's going to show me where all the pinball tables are in the whole city. So this, of course, is the Hall of Fame where I normally go. But you got to kind of be quiet there. They don't serve alcohol, so it's very limited in how much fun you're probably going to have there if you're going to be there all night. Player One video game bar. I think this is Rexer has been wanting to go check out this place. But this is it here. Asylum Bar and Arcade. See, it says it has 10 pinball tables at this one. There's another 10 pinball one called Good Times Billiards way out here. But this one looks good. And they got Avatar. They've got Deadpool, Ghostbusters, Lady Luck, Metallica, Sopranos, Spider-Man, Star Wars Pro, Terminator 2, World Cup Soccer. So it tells you exactly what machines they have at each one as well. So that's what I use to find these places. So I'm going to get my fill of pinball over the next week and a half. Because all day Saturday, I'm going to be playing pinball in Texas at the Texas Pinball Festival. And then all day Sunday, I'm going to be doing that. and then fly out on Wednesday to Vegas, and Thursday night I'm going to be doing that all Thursday night. So, love these periods of the year where you have these conventions or you have these opportunities to meet up with friends and go play these pinball machines, because I don't own them. Probably not going to own one anytime soon. So this is the best enjoyment I can get in the pinball world, is to go out to these locations and be good at finding them and be ready and wanting to get out to see them. Other than that, so I've got a dog. So you guys know I had a dog, a boxer, who passed away in May of last year. It's been almost a year since my dog passed away. I've been looking at new dogs. I've been going through a boxer rescue here in Phoenix. They actually have you go through an application process. They have you check with because I live in an apartment, to make sure that they allow the boxers, what the cost is going to be and all that, to make sure you can afford all that. And then they do a home visit. They're going to be doing a home visit tomorrow to come check out my place. And then I'll be eligible to adopt one of their dogs at this rescue. So I'll be getting one soon. They are very selective though on their dogs. Like certain dogs, they only want in certain homes, like that have backyards, or have other dogs they can play with that can keep them company, stuff like that. I'm by myself. I'm in an apartment. I don't have another dog, and I don't have a backyard or any of that. So they're going to only want to get certain dogs with certain, attitudes, and, ones that don't need tons of exercise. Those are going to be the ones they're going to try to get me to adopt. But it's going to be happening. Probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'll have a new dog. So really looking forward to that. Also been doing a ton of hiking, been trying to get outdoors as much as I can. But of course now I just turned 43 last week, and I'll tell you, I've always been super skinny, but I can tell this year I'm putting on a little bit more weight, and I've got to get out and I've got to do more hiking, or I got to get a gym membership, one or the other. Either I'm going to be going to the gym every day or every other day, or I got to be out hiking, one or the other. And I don't feel like I can fill enough time with hiking to cut the pounds and to, burn off all these calories. So probably going to end up having to get a gym membership and get back to doing that more. Exercise, getting outdoors, loving the weather right now here in Phoenix. Our winter is more so during the summer. So when you guys, for most of the country that are out really enjoying the weather, in July and August, places, those times of year, in other places, here it's like wintertime in July and August. Most people are indoors all day long because it's too damn hot. It's 120 degrees outside, and it can be actually really dangerous during the middle of the day. So this right now is prime time to get outdoors, be in the sun, go hiking, do all that stuff. So I've been doing a ton of that, and trying to prepare for the summer, because summer is going to be freaking hot. And then finally got out to the theater. I don't normally see movies ever. Been long time since I've seen a movie, but I had these free popcorn, free drink. So I decided to push myself to go to the theater. That's what I did yesterday. And I went and saw a movie called Black Bag. And I'll tell you guys, it was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I can't say it is the worst movie I've ever seen, because the acting was actually pretty good. The actors that were in it are all really good actors. And, but the movie was terrible. What they were, the story, the character buildup, the development of the characters, what was going on wasn't interesting. It's the whole movie just kind of went by. And the only thing I really enjoyed with it was the acting was good. Even though what they were saying and the story could care less about all that. Michael Fassbender, Kate Blanchett, man, those are two really good actors. Blanchett, both excellent actors, were really good in the movie. Pierce Brosnan, I've always liked him because I was a big James Bond fan. Love his James Bond movies. And I thought he did a decent job in the movie. But yeah, the story's horrible. The movie's horrible. Acting is the only good thing I can say about it. But it's I finally get out to the theater to see a movie. This is what I see. And it was like not that great. And there's not really any good movies out right now. I did see the Captain America, the new one, with the Red Hulk in it. I thought it was pretty good. I don't know why people are bashing that movie or saying that was a bad movie. I actually really enjoyed it. It was just good to see another Marvel movie finally, and to actually get some big characters in that movie was fun. So I'm looking forward to like what they're going to be doing this summer with the Thunderbolts movie. Really looking forward to the new Superman movie that's coming out this summer. I think that one's going to really hit it out the park. Going to be an amazing movie. And then there's a bunch of other stuff coming towards the end of this year that we can be excited about. But movies right now suck. Like they're terrible. Nothing really good to see, I think, other than that Captain America. But new Dracula movie was pretty good, Gregory says. I'll have to check that out. Brooklyn saying the best new movie is The Substance. Yes, that movie is awesome. If you guys haven't seen that, it's crazy as hell, especially if you see it in the theater. But if you're able to watch it at home, crazy as hell movie. But it actually got some representation at the Oscars this year. And I love the movie. You guys got to check it out. And Demi Moore, she's a great actress. She was in it. And yeah, it's good to see my family. My family's in the chat. We got to play some mini golf this week with Gregory, my family, Papa Brad, all that. Had a really good time. Electric State, Ritual Delos saying is good. That is that one is a Netflix movie, I think. I don't have Netflix, so I would have to subscribe to get that one. GeForce guy is saying Postal 2 is being made from the ground up for VR. Very cool. That's so much of my style of VR is Postal 2. And Ichabod Crane. Ichabod Crane. I said it the correct way the second time. I want to see Natsa Fura 2. And I don't know how to say that or how to pronounce it. I know there's a way you have to pronounce that. But that movie looks good as well. Definitely need to check it out. And that must be that's the Dracula movie, right? And that's the same movie we're talking about. Darren saying, I'm looking forward to the Fast and Furious movie, but really hope they do some work on the Thing's voice. I'm usually not that nitpicky, but the voice in the trailer is just so off. So I'll have to check that out. Oh, no, not the Fast and the Furious movie. Fantastic Four movie. Okay, now that makes sense. The Thing's voice, yes. So Fantastic Four, I'm glad you brought that up. That's another big blockbuster hit this summer because I'd only mentioned the Thunderbolts, which I think that's coming in May. But when is Fantastic Four coming? It's coming on like July 4th. That movie looks incredible. I think Marvel's got some really big banger type movies coming this year, especially with this Fantastic Four. It's not going to have Silver Surfer, but it's going to have a female version of Silver Surfer in it. Looks really good. I think this movie looks awesome. And I like the choices for the actors in this one. It looks good. Cannot wait to see it. They're going with like a 60s, 70s futuristic theme for this movie. Fantastic Four. So there's going to be some big summer hits for sure this year. Wonder Woman, Peace Standing Up. Brooklyn says, Biggie, that girl in The Substance is ridiculously smoking hot and fully nude most of the movie. Even Demi Moore is fully nude for most of the movie. And the gore is the freaking hook. Yes, that movie is gory as hell, crazy ass movie. The women are good looking in it. There's lots of dancing. And if you like to see women in near to nothing, you're going to see that a lot in the movie. Now, sometimes they may be cutting each other open and some crazy stuff like that, but great movie. Mike Hawkhurst says, assuming Gal is still Wonder Woman, I'd pay to see that at my family. Israel Gaming is in the chat. He says, both the new and old Silver Surfer will be in the movie as the female Silver Surfer is the herald of Galactus in her own right. Okay, so there'll be both the classic Silver Surfer and then this female version. And Galactus. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because he's this huge, monstrous villain who's going to be like overtaking the whole city. It's going to be awesome. Shotgun Sean says, Biggie D, good to see you, Shotgun Sean. Well, cool, guys. Yeah, this has been fun. Fun hanging out with you guys. Just a little over an hour. Didn't have much planned for tonight. Really just kind of winging it. I think I'm going to be doing it this way for a little while, till the end of April. I can reapply. So this freaking YouTube is such a mess. So I somehow, through some like automated bot, my channel got demonetized for reused content. This was like 6 months ago. Maybe 4 months ago, something like that. And they paused my memberships. And when I did my appeal video, I didn't do it right. So I had to wait like 90 days. Went 90 days without monetization, memberships, all super chats, all that stuff. I reapplied, did an appeal video. Oh, no, I reapplied. I didn't get it. So I did another appeal video. This time I actually put the work into making an appeal video. Spent the whole day making a damn video for YouTube to appeal the fact that I do not reuse someone else's content. This is all my own content that I make. I am who I am. I'm not re-uploading Biggie D's Arcades content on my channel. I make it all. So I make this appeal video showing my process and I win the appeal. So they say, oh, you're approved again. You have monetization. Your memberships are back. We even brought all your previous members back. We didn't touch any of that. And everything's gravy, right? Well, then 6 days later, I wake up that morning, that 6th day, and I have an email saying that my channel has been paused. My monetization's been paused because of reused content again. So I just resubmitted the same appeal video because it had just won 6 days prior. It has to work again, right? Nothing's been uploaded in those 6 days. So if it worked then, it has to work again, right? So I send the same video in and they pause it again for 90 days. So April 20th will be the date that I can reapply and probably have to reappeal again. So it's just a freaking mess. And it's really disheartening when you're like a content creator and you put all this time and all this effort into videos and you get really, just into making this stuff. You get really, I feel like you put like a lot of love into your channel to make good stuff. And then they just like take all that away from you with little to no explanation. They don't give you any reasoning why. They do stupid stuff like this where they approve you and then they pause you again 6 days later. It's all bots and it's all this like things they have set up with YouTube to try to catch people. But in turn, good content creators, people that are actually doing it the right way, end up getting stuck in this loop, this whole automated system of how they do things and run things on YouTube that I'm like stuck making nothing. And it's not like I make a bunch of money on YouTube or it really pays the bills or anything like that. But it's nice to make a little something, to get a little satisfaction out of some of the work that you do, to get, something out of it. It's just a whole mess right now with the channel. So I haven't been putting a ton of effort into it. I really don't, not that I don't want you guys to have something really great to come see when you come to my channel. I would love for everyone to get that. But it's also very difficult for me to put the same amount of love and effort and all that into what I do if I'm getting nothing out of it, and they're taking it away from me. It's like I'm going to help them become more successful when they're doing this to me. And it's like I don't want to do that right now. So I'll come stream every Sunday like I've been doing. And probably a lot of the streams I'll be doing will just be winging it like I'm doing tonight, where we're just coming to chat and we're coming to hang out and to catch up and be a community together and enjoy each other's company. But maybe by April 20th, I'll be back on track and it could be back to business again. And I can be pumping out like good videos and all that. I'd like to do that again. And I'd also like to branch out more and not just make it just home arcade. I'd like to make videos on all kinds of stuff, and just branch out to other subjects as well. Because like I said early in the stream tonight, I feel like, are we going to spend the next 8 to 9 months talking about basic fun, which may or may not come this year, which may become next year or the year after? Are we going to, talk about, all this stuff for the next 8-9 months, I don't know if I want to spend hours upon hours talking about that stuff. I kind of want to branch out into other stuff, other aspects of our lives outside of just home arcade gaming. Whether it be VR, whether it be exercise, whether it be, hiking, whether it be sports, whatever it is, movies, whatever we do day to day and we enjoy, I want to be able to discuss it. I don't want to be limited to just certain subjects or certain, themes to my channel. I want it to just be a bunch of what we just enjoy. So hope you guys are having a good weekend, Sunday night. Hope you guys have a good start to your Monday morning. This has been a lot of fun hanging out. Let's say bye to everyone who's in the chat, everyone who's hung out tonight. And if I miss you, I apologize. But good to see you, Brooklyn, Gregory, Thor KC, Papa Brad's Gaming, Israel Gaming, Ritual Dello, Mikey, my family. Good to see everybody hanging out tonight. Hope you guys have an excellent start to your week on Monday morning. Probably see a lot of y'all in VR or see you in the chats this week. And stay tuned. I will not have a stream next Sunday because I'll be at Texas Pinball Festival. But stay tuned because I'm going to be staying in Texas at my family's house. So I'll have internet. I'll have access to a computer. A lot of the video editing and stuff I can do online through online applications that I have. So look for shorts, look for videos, hopefully a live stream from Texas Pinball Festival next week. And we're keeping our fingers crossed. I really want to see Wonderland Pinball at Texas Pinball next weekend. I think if they really want to get these Kickstarters growing, these numbers really growing, hit 1 million or 2 million and have, 1,000 backers. I think they need to get to places like Texas Pinball Festival and then this WonderCon over these next few weeks to really get that Kickstarter, double it, triple it to what we see right now. So stay tuned, guys. We may see that as soon as next weekend at Texas Pinball Festival, and I'll be covering it all. I may be the only home arcade content creator on YouTube that is part of Home Arcade that's going to be there. So I may be the source for a lot of this information. So you guys stay tuned. And I'll see everyone in the next one. Talk to y'all later, guys. Have a good week. Bye-bye.